Okay, it's looking like we have good sound, just waiting for the live stream to come up on my second screen. We have thunder rumbling away overhead as well, which is always interesting. So we are taking part in leg 14 of our round the world trip that I've been doing periodically over the last few months. Today we're flying from Ramsar in Iran to Peshawar in Pakistan. So let's go and jump inside. We're in the Piaggio P180 today. So let's go and run through the checklist to get the aircraft started up. And I just need to move some windows around here for myself to make my life a little bit easier. On a second screen, I'll be following a written checklist. There's a link to it in the notes to get the aircraft started up. Okay, so let's go and just knock the yoke out for the moment. We're going to go and put the battery switch on. And then if we go and look down, we've got the avionics we can set to COM1 only to begin with. And then on the lights section, we're going to go and set the anti-collision to ground or middle. I'm just trying to reacquaint myself with where everything is. On the forward part of the central pedestal, then we're going to go to the fuel section, left fuel valve open, and the valve open on the right side. Then do a right engine start. So right engine goes to start. I've already filled the aircraft completely up with fuel. So we can see that coming through, and we can move the lever through to GI, and it should come through all on its own. And then as soon as it's ready, we can go and put the right generator to on. Oh, I need to move my throttles back out of the way. Always good to check your physical controls to see where they are. I'm just resetting everything because it was all off axis of where it should have been. Okay, so we'll start the left engine then. So left engine start, you can see the right engine start switch has gone back. We can see that coming up through 20%. So then advance, fuel condition lever, or propeller lever. It's kind of a dual use. I'll wait for that to come through, and then the left generator can go to on. Okay, so after starting the engines, we can go and put the EPU to armed, which is right in the middle here. We can put the avionics to fully forwards, and the other screens will come on, and you'll see things starting to align, whizzing around. While we're waiting for that, we can go and set auto feather to armed. So auto feather is down here somewhere. There we are, right in the middle. Bleed air section on the instrument panel, left and right go to on. Calibrate the altimeters, so press comma to shortcut doing that. It's already good by the look of it. And then the hydraulics can be switched on. You can see the navigation systems have just aligned. So there is a hide switch here, and you should see pressure on that. That's all good. Program the flight plan. So Shift and 2 will bring us over to the flight management computer. So this will take a minute or two to do it. So I apologize for this being quite slow with this aeroplane, but we fill in the position, and it's a simplified flight management computer. I think it's retrofitted from the CJ4 from Asobo. So the origin is going to be a Ramsar OINR. So OINR. Drop that into origin. And destination is going to be Peshawar OPPS. OPPS. Okay, and then we can start putting our route in through these waypoints. So November Sierra Hotel goes into the first one, and it's the Noshar. And then we go next page, and we can fill this page in basically with the next few VORs. So Delta November Zulu is What's the next one? Delta November Zulu. Then Golf Golf November. Gorgan. Then Bojnord. So Bravo Romeo Delta. Bravo Romeo Delta. I apologise for my pronunciations in advance, by the way. Ashgabat. ASB or Alpha Sierra Bravo. Ashgabat. And Kirky. Lima Bravo Kilo. For Kirky. And go next page again. Then Alpha Mike Sierra for Mazar. Alpha Mike Sierra. And Kilo Bravo Lima for Kabul. Kilo Bravo Lima. And execute that, and we should have our legs. And then if we press Shift and Space to look back, we should have vector lines drawing on the map now. And if we increase the range on this display, you can see them stretched out across the map. So we'll bring this range back down a little bit. That's good enough. Okay, so we haven't put the stall heater or pitot heater on yet, so let's go do that. I don't think this will penalise you in this aeroplane for having it on a little bit early. You can see that just gets rid of the ECAM lights. We've got a caution light showing over there. We'll go and collapse that caution light. Just looking around the cockpit to see. So, okay, there's our flap. But do we get an indication on the screens of where the flaps are? I don't think we do. Okay, we're using FMS navigation, that's all good. So we'll be able to use nav and use GPS along the way. So let's have a look. We're on the ground at Ramsar. So we're going to do an immediate left turn. We need to go and get rid of the chocks. Automatic steering mode is on, that's good. That means it will switch between doing nose wheel steering for us. Okay, let's go and go with stay intentions and bring the ground frequency online. Ramsar ground, virtual 073, requesting taxi for departure. Let's find out which runway they give us.
Virtual 073, runway 31, taxi at your discretion.
Runway 31, taxi at our discretion, virtual 073. So we're going to double back on ourselves, do a 270-degree left turn basically, and go out onto runway 31. Let's go and check head tracking is working. Appears to be. Trying to avoid clipping any other aeroplanes. Okay, before we taxi, let's go and get ourselves familiar with what lights we have. I'm just going to turn head tracking off to do this. So what do we get? There's the heaters. So lights were down here, weren't they? We want... Yeah, we don't really have taxi lights as such. I'm just checking down through the rest of the checklist. We've done the... Yeah, so we're going to put the fast belt sign on. So that's fastening seatbelts. So then the landing lights are over here somewhere at the bottom. Landing gear, here we go, landing lights. So we want them set to taxi. That's what I was looking for.
Walker 2286, request IFR clearance to...
I'm going to go and pull the volume down so you don't get drowned out by ATC communications. We appear to have a bit of a hill in the sea just alongside us. Bit of a scenery aberration. So we're going to backtrack on the runway. There's nothing around. Sorry. Just going to go and remind myself. We were given runway 31, weren't we? So we're on 31. Okay, we can take off from here. So let's go over to Tower. Ramsar Tower, Virtual 073, requesting takeoff, runway 31.
Virtual 073, runway 31, wind 020 at 15, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 31, Virtual 073. There was a light switch down here for... It was this one, wasn't it? There we go. Gear up. Pull the throttle back. So let's do a left turn because it's more interesting than the right turn. At least there's some hills to look at. I'm gonna press shift and space. Oh, actually we're quite high in the cockpit, aren't we? Well, we're just wedged against the side, I think. So if we skip ourselves sideways a little bit, gives ourselves some room. So just pulling around towards the route. We're going to have some weather on the way today by the look of it, which is going to be interesting. Okay, I'm going to turn head tracking off for a moment, just to sort the autopilot out. So we'll go heading mode. We'll go and put the autopilot on. We'll go altitude mode as well. And then we can just ensure that everything's set up. We haven't got the position lights or the recognition lights on. We'll put the anti-collision onto air. We should have done that already, really. We don't need the wing lights on. That's for looking for ice. And we're just on the point of overspeeding, so I'm going to pull the throttle back. We're fairly rapid in this aeroplane. So let's get that takeoff light wound back in. That was over here, wasn't it? Everything's a bit spread out in this aeroplane. So we're heading off into this horrible, horrible weather, but our saving grace is we have a really nice terrain radar. So what I may do is take us up to 5,000 feet just to clear any hills along the way. We can see there's nothing for a while that we really need to worry about because we're just off the coast. But I'm inclined to take us up above it. Ramsar Tower, Virtual 073, leaving your airspace to the east. Into the rain we go. Like I said, we haven't got too much of a worry because we've got this really nice display that shows us what's going on. So red is at the same altitude as us. If we were to go and climb, so we could say go up to 3,000 feet, and if we use vertical speed to get there, for example, I'm just looking at the other modes. We've got flight level change actually, that's quite useful. And then we can just wind the speed back to turn it into climb rate. So you can see that happening here. We're in the cloud. Rain streaming past. Should we put the Navigraph map on as well while we're here? Oh, I have to go and... I can do it via a browser, can't I? If I go and do that, and sign in with Google, and yes, it's me, and approve it, and allow it, and close the browser, and we get a map, and it doesn't quite work. Oh, great. I've seen this a lot, actually. It seems to be 2020 planes that have been migrated into 2024 have that problem with the map. There is another map here though, look, we've got a normal map, and yeah, that's got the same flickering problem. I wonder if they fixed it. I wonder if there's an update for the aircraft. We won't worry too much. So you can see the red lines have retreated away from us a little bit. We're in heading mode at the moment. It really wants us over to the left. So what we'll do is turn ourselves away from the hills slightly. If we go and look outside, and we look down here, you can still see the ground, look. It's just very obscured by the storm at the moment. Okay, let's go and look at the engines. What are we doing in terms of interturbine temperature? And what about RPM? Yeah, we were over talking the engines quite enormously. That's interesting. So I wonder if through doing that we've actually damaged the engines. Let's go and have a look. Oh, they're still showing 100%, so we hadn't done anything too untoward to them. So 220 knots, we're at 4,800 feet. We'll pull the heading bug round a little bit more. We're trying to come into this nav beacon. Picked our day to do this, haven't we? Hopefully we'll come out of the storm fairly soon. I always tend to fly with live weather, just so you get to see, you know, a variety of conditions. This obviously isn't wonderful. being thrown around all over the place. We can't even see below us that we're only at 5,000 feet. We've got to keep an eye on inside. The airplane's struggling, isn't it? So we'll press nav. He says, famous last words. So it should go to LNAV when we're close enough to the track. The wind obviously caught us there for a moment. Here comes the CDI, so watch it switch. Yeah, the autopilot is really struggling against the weather. We're trying to go that way, but it's being forced to the right. Let's give it more of an intercept angle. So it's following heading mode at the moment. It will flick to LNAV as soon as the CDI is close enough. So yeah, well, welcome to wonderful northern coast of Iran, where we can't see a thing because of this storm. And we've just switched over to LNAV. Look, it's close enough on the CDI, or course deviation indicator. So I am going to ask ATC for flight following. Center virtual 073, 5,000 feet. Requesting flight following.
Virtual 073, say position, heading and destination.
Virtual 073, just passing the November Sierra Hotel VOR. Destination is Peshawar. Requesting flight following.
Virtual 073, flight following is on request. Squawk 2766 denied dent.
There we go.
Virtual 073, radar contact. Over Nosha HR at 5900 feet. Naushar QNH 1015.
Copy and confirming position at 5,900 feet. Virtual 073. Right, we're going to get the co-pilot to take care of comms from now on, doing all the handovers. Hi Amanda, can you take over radio communications for a while?
I am only rated to handle IFR related comms for now.
Oh, pants. So we're going to have to do it ourselves. Okay, doesn't matter. We would have had to file an IFR flight plan to get Amanda to help us as the co-pilot. And this is only a VFR flight. It's turned out IFR, but I don't think you can do that in Say Intentions. Should we ask her? Hi Amanda, can we turn this into an IFR rated flight?
I am only rated to handle IFR related comms for now.
She's not going to tell us. We would have to go and get the mentor to get him to tell us. So let's go try it. So channel 2, mentor. Whoops, not tour guide. We want the mentor. We don't want me as the tour guide. We would rather have somebody else. Hi Chance, can you tell us if we can convert a VFR flight plan into an IFR flight plan while we are in flight with Say Intentions?
Yes, you can convert a VFR flight plan to an IFR flight plan in flight. Just contact ATC and inform them of your intentions. For example, you might say, Center, Virtual 73, request to file an IFR flight plan to Peshawar. They will guide you through the process.
Center, Virtual 073, requesting to file an IFR flight plan to Peshawar.
Virtual 073, state departure airport route, requested cruising altitude and any preferred routing for your IFR flight plan to Peshawar.
Oh my word, I'm going to tell them all of it. Departure airport was Ramsar, destination airport is Peshawar, route is Noshar, Dasht-i-Naz, Gorgan, Bojnod, Ashgabat, Kirki, Mazar and Kabul.
Virtual 073, confirm requested cruising altitude for IFR to Peshawar.
Cruising altitude 5,000 feet.
Virtual 073, cleared IFR to Peshawar, route is filed, maintain 5,000 feet, squawk remains unchanged. When ready, report airborne.
Reporting airborne, Virtual 073. We are at 7,000 feet and climbing, which we shouldn't be. The autopilot switched off, isn't it?
Virtual 073, last assigned altitude was 5,000 feet. Descend altitude 5,000 feet.
Descending 5,000 feet, Virtual 073. Look at the wind throwing us around. Okay. I'm kicking the autopilot out. We are in a tropical storm and a half. We were upside down then for a moment. So it just shows you, look, the autopilot can't always win against the weather. And we can't descend this fast. Okay, let's request climb to 10,000. Center, Virtual 073, requesting climb to 10,000 feet.
Virtual 073, climb altitude 10,000 feet.
Climbing 10,000 feet, Virtual 073. That was unintentionally exciting there for a few moments, wasn't it? Let's go and get the altitude back to 10,000 then and see if we can get out of this weather. We'll climb way out of it if we have to. So let's go nav mode. Let's go heading mode as well. Oh, it's only doing roll hold. That's interesting. Heading mode's working now. We're just putting ourselves back onto the track. The altitude hold is not working at all. Okay, let's go nav mode. Center, virtual 073, requesting climb to 18,000 feet.
Virtual 073, climb altitude 18,000 feet.
Climbing altitude 18,000 feet, virtual 073. So we're going to do this with flight level change mode, and we're going to open up the engine a little bit. And we'll bring the speed bug back a bit, which will turn it into vertical speed. We're just trying to climb out of this horrid weather. We've seen nothing but storms for the first bit of the flight. There's our little adventure there, look on the map. Hopefully as we get out over the desert it will clear up. So we're flying this as of earlier today. Whoa, we can see some clouds, and so we're icing. Okay, let's go down to the anti-ice panel. That would explain why we are seeing problems from the autopilot. It was difficult to see, look, but we've actually frozen up. You can see it when you look really closely. And the probes will have frozen, and that's what was causing the autopilot to have such troubles. So we're climbing at 1,000 feet a minute, holding 200 knots. We're looking good. Let's see what we can do in terms of spinning the propellers up a bit harder. I just realised I didn't put the propellers on max RPM, did I? Unfamiliarity with the aeroplane. I thought I'd quite commonly in aeroplanes like this, I put both of the throttles on, or both of the power levers on one stick, and both the propeller levers on another, and I hadn't. I was just looking at this and realised it's left and right engines, which would explain what we were seeing, which is why we had such huge amounts of torque at relatively low RPM. So notice that's not actually making a huge amount of difference. And we're slowly coming out of the cloud, which is perfect. So I think by the time we get to about 18, we might clear it. Proper thunderbolts around us, aren't there? Look at that, that's proper dark skies out there, look. It's pretty scary stuff, isn't it? The sunbeams through the gaps. And the showers as well. We're heading into the darkest part of this once again as we climb. I wonder if we take it up to ask for 25,000 feet maybe. Because this aeroplane can do it. It's not a concern. Look at that. See, now I wouldn't mind descending down, but we know there are hills coming. So we could fly underneath the storm. Then we just get pelted with rain though. I think it's better just to get through it. Should we put the radar on? Then at least we can see. Okay, so that's not worrying at all that there's the circle of the middle of the... Should we avoid that, do you think? I think perhaps we should. That's going to be the teeth right in the middle of the storm, isn't it? So let's go heading mode. It's right there in front of us. There's this worrying 25 miles in front of us. The radar has got this worrying circle, which I don't really want to find out what it is. Can I put the map in the tablet, or is it still bugged? That's a good question. Can we get the weather on this? Oh, I've really chosen the day to do this, haven't I? Let's try Amanda again. Now we've gone to an IFR flight plan. Hi Amanda, now we've switched to an IFR flight plan. Can you take over radio comms with Centre?
I'll take over the radio comms with Center now.
Yay! That's really cool. I didn't know Say Intentions could do that. This was supposed to be a scenic flight. I'm just replying to a comment that's just come up. Whoa, look at that. Yeah, we're going to turn away from this. We're going to overstress the airframe. Sorry for jumping subjects there. We're going to turn away from the direction we thought we should be going to stay away from the center of this storm. I don't quite fancy that bit of it. Shall we request climb to 25,000 feet? Center Virtual 073 requesting climb to 25,000 feet.
Virtual 073, climb altitude 25,000 feet.
Climbing to flight level 250, Virtual 73.
So we'll do this, we'll keep the power down and we'll go vertical speed mode and give ourselves 1,000 feet a minute and keep an eye on the airspeed. If it gets too slow, we'll pull it back a bit, or descend, or not climb as steeply, I should say. We're just at the moment avoiding this circle in the storm. I don't fancy flying anywhere near that. It's like somebody just turned the shower on outside, look. That's so funny. And it's gone off again. But yeah, we're flying across the north edge of Iran towards Pakistan, and we've gone through the transition altitude now, so we need to go and deal with that. And I can't remember where here it is, push, and it looks like it's synchronized because it's stopped and gone to standard both sides. Yeah, we're flying across the north edge of Iran, and we've run smack bang into this enormous storm system. So we're offsetting our routes somewhat to go around it and above it. As you can see, we're being pelted with water at the moment. If we look outside, can we see anything above yet? Nearly. We're nearly out, look. So we've got the weather radar on. There's our route plan, obviously. We're doing a left turn soon. So let's try it. Let's go and bring the nose around. We were just deviating slightly to avoid a worrying looking anomaly in the middle of the storm. It could well have been. Yeah, we come out the top, look, finally. So I can turn the icing measures off now. We did have a few dicey moments there where the storm flipped us upside down and we had to roll the aircraft with full aileron deflection because the autopilot couldn't handle it. So still climbing, 1,000 feet a minute, holding about 200 knots. That's indicated, of course, which our ground speed will be a lot faster than that. Can we see our ground speed on LittleNavMap? Yeah, look, it's nearly 300 knots ground speed. So we're just coming around and we're heading for the next VOR. So let's put ourselves on an intercept course with the track, and then when the CDI gets near the middle we can go back to nav mode. It's a bit of a shame, isn't it, that we don't have... If we stay on this track, we're not going to be able to descend down below the cloud for some time. Which is a shame, because there were these lovely mountains to look at along the way. Maybe by the time we get over the to the eastern side of the mountain chain, we can descend down a bit. So somewhere over... Yeah, over these mountains, maybe we can descend. Maybe we'll start to see some clear patches. Let's go and have a look on Navigraph as well, because that will give us a good view of the flight plan as well. So if we go unload, new flights, put the pencil in, paste, no, that wasn't it. We want the one from here, don't we? Flight, copy the flight plan to the clipboard, paste it, we can get rid of the data, and done. So there's our flight plan, and there's us struggling along at the moment. If we go and put this on VFR, and then we overlay the weather, and we want this to show us at... So at the moment, we can choose the layers we see as well, of course. So cloud cover is probably a good one. So if you come down, although this is going to be live, this is now, and we're not operating in the here and now. We're operating several hours ago because it's dark already in this part of the world, and I wound the clock back to take off at 9 o'clock in this morning. So Navigraph isn't going to do us too much good. So we're coming up to 25,000 feet. So we'll hurtle along, and as soon as the clouds do break, we'll descend down to get a nice view of the mountains as we head off towards the eastern side of Iran. And then we'll cross over the border into Turkmenistan, and then down through Afghanistan, and over towards Peshawar on the western side of Pakistan. Okay, we should see the marker come into view. Here it comes. And the airplane should go altitude capture. There it goes. We should see the CDI coming in fairly soon as well as we near the GPS track. The rain's still horrific below us, isn't it? I wonder if we can get some view. Can we rewind windy.com? So here we go, look, Iran. We want to see rain and thunder, but we want to see it earlier today. So then. So we're not going to clear it until we're over, oh my word, until we're over Turkmenistan. So the first half of this route you're not going to see much, unfortunately, because the exact route we're following is right through the middle of all of that. Yeah, there you go, look, there's the rain on the... So we were in the teeth of this, right along this bit of coast. Oh, we still are. We're just coming up to the corner, look. So is the CDI coming in yet? Should be very soon. But operating altitude does mean we'll go very quickly, mind. So we're overspeeding. Let's go and pull the power back. We were running above 100% on the engines there. So, running above 100%, how's that damaged the engines? No, it hasn't. We were only doing it for a few moments, so it's probably going to be fine.
Virtual 073, contact Tehran radar on 120.7.
So it's Tehran, they're just...
Contacting Tehran radar on 120.7. Virtual 73.
Amanda's taking care of it for us. So CDI is coming in. So if we go nav, and you'll see when it gets close enough, that will switch over. It will suddenly capture.
Tehran radar, virtual 73, morning, maintaining flight level 250.
Tehran radar, good morning.
Okay, we need to keep an eye on fuel levels as well, because I don't think we're going to get there in one go. We're going to have to stop for fuel somewhere. Unless we cheat and fill the fuel up mid-flight. If we get a good tailwind on the way, we've got a 30 knot tailwind at the moment, that could save us, basically.
Maintaining VFR altitude, virtual 73.
We're not VFR, that's a mistake from Say Intentions. We've converted to an IFR flight plan mid-flight because of the weather. Which I was amazed you could do. Okay, should we go and run transmitter as well? Add-ons, transmitter. I'll need to disconnect and change my call sign to virtual or VFA 073. and connect. Actually, that's not fair because there's somebody else called that. It will be VFA 001 if I was being a Virtual Flight Online user. So if we go and go to the display screen, you can see there's me over here, look. And you can see there's the ghost of my previous call sign, which will disappear in a moment. And there's me hurtling along over the top of Iran. So we're heading for Ashgabat. That is horrific weather, isn't it? Not fun at all. Okay, we're coming through the GGN, or Gorgan VOR. Now, I wonder... Okay, let's change this to IFR. We're flying an IFR flight plan now. We're at 25,000, which will make this make a lot more sense. We have lots of clearance now over the hills. How are we doing in terms of speed? Yeah, we're 10 knots below the maximum speed. We've got a 30 knot tailwind. We're doing well. So let's see if we can bring the RPM down. And the power. Oh, we were running the engine. I forgot myself again, look. With the power. So let's bring the torque down to 90%. Let's go and reduce the RPM as well. It's interesting, look. Meddling with the RPM is not changing the indicated airspeed at all. So is the weather going to clear? Is the million-dollar question at the moment. In about another 70 miles time, perhaps, it will clear a bit. But we're not going to completely clear it until we're way out over... I'm going to get the place name right, Turkmenistan. So we're really seeing nothing of Iran. It's horrific weather down there today. Okay, while this is flying along, I'm going to put LittleNavMap on the screen. So open window layout to minimal, and I'll put this up in the corner so you can see where it is, and I'm going to go stretch my legs for a bit while we're waiting to clear this weather, and we'll go and get rid of the taskbar. There we go. So I'm going to leave it like that for a bit, and I'll be back with you a bit later on. You can see some hills, look, through the gaps in the clouds. Fingers crossed. Another 60, 70 miles, we might clear some of the cloud.
Tehran radar, Beach Charlie Golf Juliet Mike Charlie. Requesting VFR flight following to Oscar, India, India, India.
Beach Juliet Mike Charlie, squawk 1534 and ident.
Squawk 1534, Beach.
Papa Air requesting takeoff clearance for VFR flight heading out with 080. Control Papa Air requesting IFR clearance to Oscar Alpha Uniform Zulu with information, and we are at arcing 2 Bravo.
Okay, so we're just going to have a quick look at the fuel burn rate inside the aeroplane to see how we're doing. Where do we check this easily? Fuel pounds quantity 978 both sides. Fuel flow 377 per hour. So we got about 2.5 hours worth of fuel. We're doing 240 nautical miles per hour, which is good for probably about 750 miles then. Just below 700, say. How far are we away from our destination? This is very, very thumb in the air, and it will be affected by... We're 750 miles away. Yeah, this is going to be dodgy. How can we get the fuel flow down? $377. So if we it's a real balance, isn't it? Because you bring the power down, you lose speed, which you can see is happening immediately. But is it enough to counter how long you'll last? Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough to counter it. I think we just go with best rate, to be honest. So about 85%, 84% should be okay on the torque. We'll see. So we've got a direct tailwind of 40 knots, which is helping us enormously. So once you factor that in, so you're doing an extra 40 nautical miles for each hour. We'll see.
to Oscar Alpha Uniform Zulu via the Boner 1 Bravo departure, then as filed, climbing to 6 south, departing on 12.7, squawking 6255. We have to be out of here before 0754 Zulu, Papa Air.
John Radar, Falcon 313, flight level 1200, inbound, Boutique.
Virtual 073, contact Ashgabat Control on 129.0.
Switching to Ashgabat Control on 129.0. Virtual 73. Ashgabat Control, Virtual 73. Morning, maintaining flight level 250.
Virtual 73, Ashgabat Control, good morning, radar contact.
Hello, I'm back with you for a moment. I'm just going to check some mathematics. So we've got 800 fuel. We're running at 350, so we got just over 2 hours worth. And we are doing 365 over the ground. So we can pretty much do 700 nautical miles. 700 or 750 at a stretch. How far is it to Peshawar from here? 600. We can make it. We can make it in one go. That's all I wanted to check, really. So I'm going to leave it flying on autopilot for a little while, and then I have to go and have dinner somewhere along this route. At some point over the next couple of hours, I'll be back with you, probably over Kabul, and then we'll descend into Peshawar together, and it'll be probably interesting because I've not really visited Pakistan very much in the simulator, and certainly up in the north of Pakistan the mountains are absolutely beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for the moment, and I'll be with you a bit later on. Take care.
climb level to 390, Scandinavian 1131. Negative, request climb to flight level 390, Scandinavian 1131.
Scandinavian 1131, climb flight level 390.
Virtual 7-3, Ashgabat Control, contact Turkmenabat Center on 132.9er.
Contacting Turkmenabat Center on 132.9er. Virtual 7-3. Turkmenabat Center, Virtual 7-3. Good afternoon. Maintaining flight level 250.
Turkmenabat Center, good afternoon. Virtual 073, contact Turkmenabat Center on 122.0.
Contacting Turkmenabat Center on 122.0, virtual 73. Turkmenabat Center, virtual 73. Good afternoon, maintaining flight level 250.
Turkmenabat Center, good afternoon. Virtual 73, Turkmenabat Center, contact Taiba info on 125.2.
Switching to Taiba info on 125.2, virtual 73. Taiba info, virtual 73. Good afternoon, maintaining flight level 250.
Virtual 73, Taiba info, good afternoon, radar contact, Gordak QNH 1015.
Gardak QNH 1015, virtual 73.
Okay, so I'm back, and what we're going to do to get in a sensible amount of time, because I have to go and have dinner soon, is accelerate time. 1, 2, 3. So we're now going at 8 times normal speed. So you'll see the aeroplane whizzing along towards Kabul. You should be able to hear me now. I'm just looking at the yeah, I was making a few checks before I turned the microphone back on. Yeah, so I've accelerated time until we get down to Kabul, and then we'll begin the descent, and we'll hopefully get in a sensible amount of time, so it shouldn't take too long. As you can see, the ground is coming up to meet us. Or it will be fairly soon. So if we go and look on LittleNavMap and we go window, open window layout, go back to default, and we open the elevation view. So you can see we're coming down through here, but we're just entering this area here, look. So the ground is going to come up to about 15,000 feet. So if we drop to 15,000, we should see the mountains on the way. So we'll do that. Yeah, one of the problems of accelerating time is the autopilot is usually thrown out enormously. Okay, let's go talk to Center and request descent to 15,000 feet. Who are we actually talking to at the moment? Let's go and have a look. TIBA info. TIBA information, virtual 073, requesting descent to 15,000 feet.
Virtual 073, descend altitude 15,000 feet, QNH 1013.
So it should get confirmed by Amanda. Or not. Descending 15,000 feet, virtual 073. So we're just speeding time up. The wind is really getting up, isn't it? So they said QNH 1013, which is what we've got at the moment. That is standard barometric pressure, funnily enough. So let's accelerate time again. Coming in towards 15,000 feet. So hear the beep as we as we approach it. Excuse me. And then well, let's go and increase the range on the navigation displays. So you can see, yeah, the run in towards the destination. It is the next waypoint. And we're coming in. Actually, that's not the destination. Peshawar is the destination. OPPS. Is it on our flight plan? Let's go and have a look. KBL. Oh, no, it isn't. Interesting. Legs. Oh, we want OPPL on the end, don't we? Oh, that'll be why. Oh, it's OPPS. That will be why as well. OPPS. And drop that in. Execute. So then if we increase the range on this again, we'll see that last leg. There it goes. It's just coming into view at 200 miles away. So Alt R plus plus plus. We're at 15,000 feet. Which should be enough to clear the hills. Just. We'll keep an eye on it. If we get too close, I'll cancel it and get involved. If you look at this, we're holding exactly, so we're going to get pretty close to the next peak that we pass at the next ridge. So we'll keep an eye on it because the wind, especially when in accelerated time, could ruin our day. You can see now it's really struggling. This is the closest point. In about 20 seconds time, it's these hills here, isn't it? We'll just stay close to it to slow time down if we have to. Okay, I'm going to let it stabilize. That's a bit too close for comfort. How are we doing for fuel? We're down to 315 one side, 300 the other, and we're travelling at 270 knots ground speed. And we are... Oh, this is going to be dicey, you know. We may not make it. We're using this much per hour at the moment. We need to climb back to altitude, don't we? This may have been a mistake descending to see the hills. Well, given that I don't have time to do that, we're going to cheat. We're going to go into the aeroplane and go to the fuel and give ourselves some margin. And we've just fixed our problem. Okay, so we're past that hill now. Accelerate time again. Yeah, ideally today I would have set off an hour earlier than I actually did.
559, good afternoon. Request VFR clearance and departure from Kabul to go to Lahore, please.
So
maintain VFR out or below 7,500, contact departure on 125.2 and squawk 5366.
So we're going to pass right over the top of Kabul International in a moment.
Read that correctly.
And there it is. And then we're going to make our turn because the VOR is down in this corner. And it hasn't made the turn. Why has it not made the turn? Great. So we'll do it by heading mode. By hook or by crook? accelerating time enormously. And we're whizzing in towards Peshawar. So we'll get clearance into Pakistan airspace very soon. With a pretty stiff crosswind. Okay, let's find out what the altitude of Peshawar is. Overview, elevation 1,100 feet. You can see us whizzing in from the left side of the map here. So when we cross these mountains here, we'll be in Pakistan airspace. And then we'll arrange our approach. Talk to the tower.
Right 230 for Danish 11 Golf.
Danish 11 Golf, negative radar contact.
So I'm guessing we're going to get the wrong way.
You're squawking 2000 and your transponder is set to move.
No wind, according to that, but don't believe it.
Zero departure, this is Skyline Bravo. For sure, requesting flight following to New York City.
The Danish 11 Golf is visual.
So we're about to cross over. Back to normal speed. And this is unfortunate, isn't it? So we are about how many miles away? 15 miles out. So let's do this. What do we get on the weather readout? We're showing 0.
Virtual 073, contact Islamabad control on 120.75.
Now is our help.
Contacting Islamabad control on 120.75.
Ah, she's deciding to help now.
Virtual 73.
So we need to get down in this fog. So let's go and start bringing ourselves down.
Control, Virtual 73. Good afternoon. Maintaining flight level 150.
Virtual 73, Islamabad control, assalamu alaikum.
Hi Amanda, I'll take over radio communications now.
All right, Jonathan, you're in charge of the radio communications now.
Islamabad control, Virtual 073 terminating IFR.
I have informed Islamabad control that we're terminating IFR.
Of course I pressed the wrong button. Islamabad control, Virtual 073 terminating IFR.
Islamabad control, Virtual 73, Islamabad control, Virtual 073 ending IFR.
It's all getting a bit confused, isn't it?
IFR canceled, radar service terminated, squawk VFR, contact Peshawar Tower 122.9er when ready.
Squawk VFR, contacting Peshawar Tower on 122.9 when ready. Virtual 73.
Hi Amanda, I'll take over now. I'll press the right button this time, hey?
You're in charge of the radio communications now, Jonathan.
Peshawar Tower, Virtual 073 approaching from the west, requesting full stop landing. So we'll stay at 15,000 and we'll drop in.
073, wind 230 at 22, runway 17, clear to land, caution wet surface.
Clear to land runway 17, virtual 073. Let's take ourselves down to 5,000 feet.
Runway 17 not available. Active runway is 35. Advise if you want to land runway 35.
Runway 35. Yes, affirmative, virtual 073. They're given for ILS because of the weather. Okay, heading mode. Let's turn ourselves.
073, wind 350 at 4, runway 35, clear to land. Caution wet surface.
Cessna 903 Lima, ready to
Let's
taxi.
go flight level change mode and pull the engines
Cessna
back.
903 Lima, runway 35 taxi via Charlie Alpha.
Runway 35 taxi via Charlie Alpha, Cessna 903 Lima.
So we're just bringing ourselves round to the reciprocal. We're going to probably have to go out in a teardrop shape. So we'll go more than 170. Let's go to 180. Let's get the nav radio tuned in. So we want 108.3 and 353 degrees on the course. So we're going to switch over on the FMS. And I have to remember how to do this now. There we go. We want this to be 353 degrees. Okay. And the frequency was 108.30. Okay. Let's sort that out as well. I have to remember how their radios work in this thing. 108.30. Okay, you have to do this one. 108.30. And then press the button to transfer to active. And that gives me ILS over here. And there it goes, it's just picked it up. We're off to the right, which is absolutely correct. We should get the glide slope when we get a bit lower. It has got, yes, it's got a glide slope. So let's take ourselves out to a further angle away to give ourselves room to turn. Coming down to 9,000 feet. Let's just double check this runway. Show information for Peshawar. Elevation 1,100 feet. Okay, so if we get ourselves to 4,000 feet, we'll be good to go to come into the feathers. It would help if that didn't accelerate when it got anywhere near. Actually 3,600 would be better, wouldn't it? Coming in 3,000 feet for the end of the feathers. Or sorry, 2,500 feet even. Okay, so we need to get the QNH correct as well. So let's go and have a look at the weather. It was here, wasn't it? Except theirs wasn't accurate. But they're saying 1020. What did it say here? They didn't. But in the simulator we can cheat, press comma. 1019 it's giving us for where we currently are. Okay, let's continue and turn. Left turn towards the glide slope. We're within 1,000 feet of our target altitude. So you can see we're doing the turn, coming back in. We've given ourselves plenty of run-in time. Bring the heading bar all the way around.
Expect the runway 35, squawk 45115. Initial climb 6,000.
Lights, 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 lights. Where are the lights? I can never remember with this thing. There we go.
Assist,
Landing lights on.
Runway 35, initial climb 6000, expect initial climb in 380, squawk 5115. Foxtrot November.
So you see we're lining up fairly accurately.
17 November.
There's the CDI, so we'll put ourselves at a slight offset. We can't see easily here what the wind is doing, can we? Okay, there's the glide slope as come into view. So what we'll do, we'll set ourselves in the normal place in the cockpit, zoom in ever so slightly, press the various buttons to make things happen. Speed ourselves up a bit. Bring the propellers back up to speed. Actually, they don't need to be quite that fast. Let's just go and sort that out. Whoa! Wrong key. I've been using too many different simulators recently. Let's put these back on mid-range RPM. And you can see the glide slope coming. So let's try that again. Autopilot off. And we're descending into the murk. And we're following the localizer and the glide slope. Let's get the gear down. We've gone a bit high. And we're off to one side.
Skywagon 400 ready to taxi.
Skywagon 4 Zulu Juliet, runway 35 taxi via Echo, Bravo, hold short of runway 17, then Charlie, Alpha.
Runway 35 taxi via Echo, Bravo, hold short of runway 17, then Charlie, Alpha Skywagon 4 Zulu Juliet.
Tower, November 772 Echo Romeo, ready for northwest VFR departure with flight following. Runway 35 holding short.
4 miles to run.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
We're a little bit off to the left. We're on the glide slope.
5 on departure, maintain at or below 2,500, squawk 7516, departure on 125.6.
Going a bit low.
November 772 Echo Romeo, ready for departure.
Just pull ourselves back up onto the glide slope. Don't want to be skimming the roofs. Still low. That's better. Hopefully a runway is going to appear in front of us at any moment. Slightly off to the right. To the left even.
Beechcraft 631 ready to taxi.
Beechcraft
Full
631,
flaps.
runway 35 taxi via Alpha.
Come on, a runway would be nice.
Runway 35 taxi via Alpha Beechcraft 631.
And there's the runway right in front of us. should be able to get off at the first stop here.
Cessna 9er Tree Lima ready for straight out departure.
Cessna 9er Tree Lima, winds calm.
So we'll get away from the runway and then we'll stop our airplane.
35, cleared for takeoff, Cessna 9er Tree Lima.
So do we have ground here at Peshawar?
Virtual 073, exit at Alpha if able. Taxi to stand parking 114 via Alpha monitor this frequency.
Taxi parking stand 114 via Alpha monitoring this frequency, virtual 073. Thank you. So let's go and have a look and see where that is.
Requesting IFR clearance to Doha.
Stand by, you're number 1.
They said Alpha if possible. That would be the shortest run-in ever, wouldn't it?
We
can't see the stands. Let's go and have a look. Taxi. Do we have the... Okay, where are the stands? Do we have a chart with stands on them?
23 Kilo.
Doesn't look like we do.
Requesting taxi to the active runway for northwest VFR departure with flight following.
No. So we're going to pick anywhere. There looks to be smaller planes this end. It's a proper foggy day, isn't it? So we'll go up this end and turn back round. We don't have a chart to use for parking, so we're going to make best of what we do, or what we can see. There are a few collisions on the ground because I've got flight simulator traffic and say intentions traffic on, so it's doubled up a lot of them.
Cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, 35, Beechcraft 631.
Skywagon 726 ready to taxi.
Skywagon 726, runway 35, taxi via Charlie Alpha.
Runway 35, taxi via Charlie Alpha, Skywagon 726.
That'll do. Okay, let's go and get this thing shut down. We don't need to talk to ATC anymore. Oh, look at this. The click spots are getting in our way. Okay, generator's off. Oops, middle setting is off. And that's all off. That's off in the middle, so is that. Just looking through the switches to make sure everything's appropriately set. Avionics can come off. EPU can go off. And have we got any other lights or anything on that we need to worry about? Yes, we have, obviously. Off, off, and then turn off the batteries. And we're cold and dark. And we've survived.
Good day.
So there we go. Obviously we gave it a bit more fuel because I had to speed things up a little bit to come in, but that was good fun doing the instrument approach in the almost zero visibility. So yeah, good fun. So we've arrived at Peshawar, so the next few legs will be going low and slow along the edge of the mountains in Pakistan to make it a lot more interesting than the run across the desert there was. So yeah, it should be a bit more fun next time. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you again soon. It all kind of became a bit more interesting right at the end, didn't it, with the instrument approach. See you soon. Take care.